It has been a very whirlwind evening and very adventurous, but there is a new challenger stepping into the arena of the Collision Collective reviews. I'm never gonna get tired of that mask. I'm really, really not.
I don't
Especially,
know why. I don't know why you would, because this is me. This is me. Saludos, programa. Soy el Buntador número dos. I'm here with Mikey, and we're here to review the Collision show, the pre-show, the go-home show prior to AEW Double or Nothing. So
I am so pumped. I am so hyped for Double or Nothing. I cannot wait. But as
it was a good show. Yeah,
yes,
me too.
as my master friend has said, this is the Collision go home for Double or Nothing. Stay tuned because Adolfo and his lovely wife Alice took care of Rampage with everything that is going around, and so we're
Adolfo, then no. I did the review with Alice. El Punta número dos. I don't know where Adolfo went to go get Wendy's or some nonsense. I don't know.
Well, excuse
I'm
me.
definitely not Adolfo because I'm not cursing. So
Not yet, anyways.
here we go.
But we are here to review Collision. We got a lot to talk about, and then we'll get through the last bits because Double or Nothing is upon us. But let's jump straight into it because Collision didn't waste any time because we just immediately jumped into a Jon Moxley entrance montage with Wild Thing playing, and Jon Moxley makes his way into the ring. But before Mox can get a word out, we then get the almighty Don Callas of Family Entrance music and the lovely artwork that goes with it at the Last Supper. Don Callas, or what he has been referred to here on the BC WrestlePod parts, Don Fallas, is here, and he basically cuts this promo overviewing the history that Mox and Don have had in AEW over the last 2 years or so.
Nope.
From Mox being the one to give Don Callas the scar on his forehead from the bleeding and all the whatnot, and basically extends an invitation for Mox to join the Don Callas family to do crazy things. Mox obviously ain't gonna do that, and then before things can truly get out of hand, Konosuke Takeshita blindsides Mox, and after a steel chair and jumping from the top turnbuckle ring post with said chair attached to Mox's arm, we're going into the Eliminator match tomorrow with Mox having an injured arm.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how far they play with his arm being jacked up. Because I mean, Takeshita, I was actually kind of worried because he got Mox's arm in that steel chair pretty good. So as far as the Don Callas portion of this whole shenanigans, I have to say, for as long as I have been watching AEW wrestling, and I've seen Don Callas grace my TV screen, this, for as much of a sham as it was the best Don Callas promo I've seen him cut. It was engaging. I was right there. I think the fact that Mox really played off of him really well, because just like that nonchalant face that Moxley had, just sitting there waiting for him to get done with his pontification, I thought it was good.
I agree with you, my friend, in the sense that I think this is the best promo that Don has cut in quite some time. And tonight's Collision was all about really, really great promos.
Yeah.
I will say that while I enjoyed the promo and I liked the attack from Takeshita afterwards, in the grand scheme of things, it makes sense given the fact that the Don Callas family is technically a heel stable that will do heelish things. I feel that the arm injury angle doesn't necessarily need to be a thing. I mean, it gives credence to what's about to go down at Double or Nothing tomorrow, but I feel that Takeshita is in a position where that wasn't necessarily needed for this, but in the grand scheme of things, I think it's just an added layer. I'm still excited for the match, and regardless of this new injured arm angle, I still think Takeshita is walking out of Double or Nothing the winner, getting a chance to go after that IWGP title at some point. And I'm still calling my shot here. Takeshita's winning that thing, and Mox versus Takeshita's main eventing Forbidden Door.
Yeah, that would be good.
I would hope so.
It does. Yeah, the reason why I question why, or not why, but how deep they're going to go into that arm injury, because I was really hoping if Takeshi won, that he would get a clean win with as little shenanigans as possible, because he's a great wrestler. He's put up some great matches, and going up against Jon Moxley, I expected no less of him. So I really hope that they don't put a heavy emphasis on Moxley's arm being injured. And yes, we know that Takeshita is going to work it, but I don't want that being the reason that Takeshita wins the match. That's all. Moving on.
And that's where I'm going with it too, because I feel that Takeshita is a strong enough opponent not to need it, though I understand why we got it. But regardless, I still think that the match itself is going to be fantastic. And you mentioned it before, this evening was filled with a very, very, really passionate and amazing promos. Yeah. And we got one. Now, I saw this already via the social medias, but it was really nice for Collision to play it here. We got a post-Dynamite match promo from Will Osprey, still covered in blood after everything that went down after his match with him and Orange Cassidy taking on Roddy, and just that whole, and Trent Beretta and all that. This is the Will Osprey that I know can cut promos. This is the New Japan Will Osprey that cut promos. And for anybody who is doubting Will's ability to cut a really good promo and still wasn't sure whether he could or not over the, since being signed to AEW, this is the perfect example. This almost was my promo of the night until we got another one later in the evening from another wrestler who cut Wonder in the middle of the ring. But excuse my French, but goddamn, bro, like holy shit, this promo was everything that I knew Will could give. And if I wasn't already excited for the match at Double or Nothing between him and Roddy, this made me excited, and now it's making me second guess some of my choices when it comes to my picks. But regardless, this promo was everything that it needed to be, and then some. This was a fantastic promo from Will.
Will Osprey just did all the promos that Roddy needs to do. Roddy does not need to have a microphone in his hand anymore. Will Osprey just did everything for him. He did the heavy lifting, so I'm excited for the match. It did its job. I'm excited for the match.
Yeah, I cannot wait for this match. A bloodied Will Osprey, someone you don't want to mess with because it's about to go down. But speaking of things about to go down, at this point of the evening and leading into Collision, we were touted that it was going to be a mysterious partner, for our next match, which was a trios match, which saw the Murder Hawk himself, Lance Archer, and the Righteous taking on the team of Claudio Castagnoli, Daniel Garcia, and a mystery partner. And said mystery partner wasn't nothing to sneeze at, because it turned out to be the current president of New Japan Wrestling, Hiroshi Tanahashi, of all people. I'm like, well, hot damn, holy crap, here we go. And then I'm like, yeah, way to go, Tony Khan, make it smart, because we're about to do Forbidden Door next week, so why not have the president of New Japan be wrestling?
Yep.
So I was torn, because I loved it. I'm happy to see Claudio and Daniel and Hiroshi pick up a win here. I'm just still sad that it comes at the expense, not less more so for Lance Archer. I just hate seeing the Righteous continue to lose a lot right now. But this was really, really fun, and I got a pop with Hiroshi Tanahashi and Daniel Garcia doing the dance at the end of the match.
That was fun. That was definitely a lot of fun. I do want to talk about Lance Archer and the Righteous. This does speak to something that we have been talking about, it seems like, for the last 2 weeks, where the minute we see this ROH talent on the card in the ring, we're like, okay, we know who's winning. you know? And for as much as it did suck seeing Lance Archer and the Righteous get the loss, because they have grown on me as a trios team, they have grown heavily on me. I love their finisher where they stack the bodies and then do the thing. It's fantastic. However, I don't think that it made them look bad. They wrestled very well. The match itself, even with Hanashi, with that pop for Hanashi, they still, it looked really good. It looked really good. You know, everyone got their spots. The Righteous and Lance Archer, they did not look, they weren't made to look like complete buffoons, which is great. And I feel like this is one of those matches that will hopefully give them a bit of a pop, you know, because I mean, look at the people that they lost to, you know, Daniel Garcia, Claudio Castagnoli, and Hanashi, who I am going to be on the opposite spectrum of you here on this. I really, other than him coming in and getting that initial pop, I really didn't see his purpose being there. I get he's the president of New Japan and all that, and I know that his name, like, I saw the crowd go flipping nuts when he came out. But yeah, Claudio and Daniel, to me, kind of did all the heavy lifting in this match. So as a matter of fact, that last spot when Hanashi went up, I don't know if he was doing what I do and like pause for dramatic effect, or he paused because he was just buffering, which I also do, or if there was something wrong, because I don't know if you saw, but like he got up to the top and like froze his left foot. It like he like couldn't get a grip or something. I don't know. Something was going on up there. I wasn't really sure, you know, what it was, but you know, the ending with Daniel Garcia definitely was a lot of fun. So yeah.
You know, and to speak to it too, and this is something that always is brought up anytime we see Hiroshi Tanahashi in AEW, because he's getting up there in terms of age-wise and for how long he's been wrestling in New Japan, body's starting to slow down. So I agree with you that Daniel and Claudio did a lot of the heavy lifting for the team, but that is to be expected given the fact that Hiroshi is close to, I want to say, mid-40s at this point and continuing to still wrestle too. But I think that this was also a fantastic match, even though the Righteous and Lance Archer lost. But I still thought it was great. And
you know, it was a good match. You know, I'm not saying it was. It was a good match. Just, you know,
we've come to be conditioned to anytime we see ROH talent on any of the AEW shows, we kind of figure out what's going to go down with this. But regardless, we finish this match. We get a quick vignette with the Young Bucks and everything. They apparently had a special signing today in terms of just outside of stuff for their new shoe line, which is available at Champs all over nationwide.
That comes out tomorrow.
Yeah, so I may or may not have been scoping out to see if I can grab some.
Yeah,
but, you know,
not gonna lie, I've been watching the Champs website to see what the deal is.
So, but this vignette just continues to set up the Bucks. As we know, they're kind of be smarmy dirtbags when it comes to this heel roll they're going for, which I'm all here for. Which then we get into the tag team match where Collision has redeemed itself because we had luchadors and they actually won their match. But I mean, you cannot have the Lucha Bros lose when they bring out Mini Penta and Mini Rey Fenix.
I know. I
miss the Mini children.
At the beginning, I was actually scared that they were going to lose because they did bring out the children. You know, because that's just, you know, that's our lot in life. But yeah, it was
the Lucha Bros versus the Guns, man. This match was actually a lot better than I thought it was going to be, and honestly, this was probably the Guns' best match to date.
This is the only real match I kind of, well, no, because they fought, but that was over quick. Yeah, like this is the only real match that I've seen the Guns really like go at it in quite a bit. I thought it was a really good match. I don't know if it was because Ray Phoenix is kind of easing himself back in. I don't know if Penta actually looked like he was being slowed down a little bit. Maybe like if there there was a lingering injury or something like that. There was just a few spots where like he was in the corner on his knees and he wasn't as quick to get up as he normally is, and he looked a little more winded. Then again, they could be saving all of it for tomorrow night when they go up against the Bang Bang Gang. But this match was really good. The guns sold really well. For all their faults, I have always found the guns entertaining because they do they do a lot of other things like comedic things and whatnot, like the dramatic things to add the tension and whatnot, and they're good at that. But yeah, seeing the Lucha Bros get that win, that was good. That
Look,
made me
we're
feel
we're gonna take these wins where we can, because as me and Adolfo, well, not Adolfo, me and Tador over here are the only two, and yes, I could say only two because Andrew filled me in of what his origins are, and he's a mix of a lot of things. But me and El Butador are the only two Latinos up in this piece, so it makes us very, very happy when we see our luchadores pick up the win here. And the other thing that's important, because the Lucha Bros beat the Guns in this, their match against the Bang Bang Gang at Double or Nothing are now for the Trios Championships too. Because
so
before,
now,
so
go
that's
ahead.
an interesting caveat. So now, Death Triangle versus the Bang Bang Gang is now no longer just going to be a Trios match. It's going to be for the Unified Trios Championships, which is going to be interesting. Still don't think that Death Triangle are going to win, but there's that added layer, and I still think this match is going to be very, very fun.
Yeah, number one, it was great seeing Pac come out at the end and congratulate the Lucha Bros. It did actually feel like they are a cohesive unit. Number two, if the Bang Bang Gang comes out retaining the championships, please don't let this be a one and done. Let this match be a slobber knocker and a great like part one to like a part two where maybe not at Forbidden Door, but maybe at the next AEW pay-per-view, the Death Triangle comes back and they have another slobber knocker, and then they can pick up the titles there. I will dance happily if Death Triangle wins. I don't, part of me wants to say that they'll pick it up tomorrow, just because Pac is so over, and he, we should put a belt on him, and then of course, because of my bias, we should put the belts on the Lucha Bros as well. But yeah, I'll be okay if they don't. If, like I said, if it's a slobber knocker, if it's a great match, which I know they can do, and then but don't just let it die at this one. Make this a 2-parter or a 3-parter. You know what I mean? Because I think that these teams can bring that type of energy.
I 100% agree. So as I stated before, we now have the Trios Championships on the line on Double or Nothing, which is going to be great, and I think it's going to be fantastic. So after we get a recap of what happened in our FT 3-way eliminator match on Dynamite, I don't want to, but we have to talk about it because it was something that happened. Just really quickly, we get the backstage, promo from Chris Jericho, who gets this interview, and he's asked about, having to face Hook and Shibata at Double or Nothing for the FTW Championship. Chris Jericho basically says the same thing that he's been saying for the last couple of weeks now that he's entered this new character of the Learning Tree. And though I was very intrigued because the bounty hunter Brian Keith interrupts and says that he may have not gotten his shot this time around, but it seems that Brian Keith is not done with Chris Jericho. And lo and behold, I want Brian Keith to do what I know he does best, get a bounty on Chris Jericho and have him get that championship from Jericho at some capacity, because we already did our prediction video. That goes up live later before Double or Nothing airs, a couple hours before. But Chris Jericho, I think, unfortunately, is walking out of Double or Nothing still with that championship.
Yeah.
But I did find it intriguing that our bounty hunter Brian Keith is not done chasing after Jericho. But again, this promo from Jericho is what we've been getting from him for the last couple of weeks. Him and Large William in the corner, as we have dubbed Big Phil over in the Dynamite reviews. It is what it is. My feelings on Jericho have been well documented over all of the AEW programming, and my singularity lane of me loathing this man is going to continue down this way, and I don't care what anybody says.
The two best parts of the spot were Brian Keith coming out and also Big Bill. Large William, he pontificated so well, and that's it, and we can move on.
We can. I'm mad that the professor thinks this is so bad it's good. I was like, Professor, leave, get out of here. No!
I'm in his camp, but we can move on.
Right.
I got you, Professor. I got your back.
Of course you do. Anyways, we move on from this. We get a squash match this evening, but honestly, this is one that makes sense, and this is how we do squash matches in AEW for the sake of it, because this is Kyle O'Reilly taking on local talent KM, or this is not the first time we've seen KM in AEW and ROH for that matter. We've seen him pop up a couple of times, but this essentially is a squash match in which Kyle O'Reilly is able to pick up a victory here, which, makes a lot of sense, because it now gives Kyle O'Reilly a victory after, even though he lost last week, he put on a banger with Malachi Black last week. So this is to even out the record to give him a win. But I like Kyle O'Reilly. I like him, and the last couple of matches he has had, I'm just like, I'm so happy that he's back in AEW. And him and Roddy put on a really good match at Dynasty. Him and Malachi probably had one of my favorite matches of all wrestling promotions last week. I'm just happy to see this man be able to come back and wrestle, because as we all know, we weren't sure we were going to see him again, and he wasn't sure if he was going to be able to come back into a wrestling ring given the horrific things that he had to deal with when he was out on injury for the last year and a half.
Yeah, that kind of seems to be the tie that binds going into Double or Nothing, and especially with this Collision, is the amount of talent that have had near career-ending injuries that they have fought back from. Kyle O'Reilly continues to just blow my mind. The way he so beautifully and skillfully slid down on KD and took him down and got him in that arm bar, that was beautiful, and he just, when you look at him, he is so Irish soda bread, right? Like you're gonna get a hearty meal, but like it doesn't look like you're gonna get anything more. But once you see him in the ring, he's really exciting to watch. So dare I say, Irish soda bread with a little sazon in there,
I love it. I really, really do. But I'm happy to see Kyle back. And this was a great way to give him a win after, even though he lost, he came out looking strong against Malachi Black next week. And I'm excited to see what we do with Kyle next.
Yep.
All right. I have to mentally prepare myself, because next comes the promo of the night for me. And I will argue until I have no air left in my lungs, because Willow Nightingale comes out. She comes into the ring. She cuts this promo. There's not enough words in the English dictionary to describe how much I already loved Willow. That's becoming.
Yeah.
And you know what? Even though I picked Mercedes to win this title, by the end of this promo, Willow Nightingale made me feel three things. Number one, it was shame that I would ever choose against her, because This girl is special and she is everything. Number two, she's making me feel so sad because it's going to actually physically and emotionally hurt if Mercedes now beats her for this title. But number three, she solidified herself as one of my favorite wrestlers, not just in ring ability, but just you could tell from this promo that Willow cut that she loves and cares about this business on a not just career wise, because there are a lot of the wrestlers love what they do, but this girl took it to a whole spiritual existential level in this promo alone. Between her and Will Osprey's promo, this is why I say, and I'm not afraid to admit this, that Collision tends to be the better of the shows that get reviewed in AEW. It's because of the talent like this, but God, this promo from Willow Nightingale, not only talking about her match at Double or Nothing, but why she does what she does and why she is going to fight tooth and nail to remain the TBS champion. It just makes me love her anymore, but it also, I was like, I think my heart might break if she doesn't walk out of Double or Nothing. And I picked Mercedes to win, and now I'm like, even though I picked Mercedes to win, I don't want Willow to lose this. I want her to continue to have this title reign. How dare you, AEW, make me care about these wrestlers like this? God damn, this promo was amazing.
Yeah. Heartfelt, great on the mic. A lot of, dare I say, dramatas with her on the mic. This was a great promo. She cut a great promo. I'm so happy that that stat only came out on the ramp and then went back in and let her do her thing. I'm also so happy that they did not have Mercedes Moné come out to interrupt, because they, at the end of Rampage, they had Mercedes Moné come out and they had a little bit of a Donnybrook. So, glad that's out of the system. Yeah, I chose Willow Nightingale to win just because I want to put that energy out in the universe. This match is going to be a great match. This match is going to be an emotional match, and I have a feeling that this match is going to be one of those women's matches that we constantly see, where like the guys go out and they do the thing, and the women are like, "All right, here, hold our beers," and then they go out and they put on a freaking 5 gold star match, even though peoples don't want to call it a 5 gold star match for insert reason here. Sidebar, that Willow Nightingale Sky Blue Manitoba street fight, I think they called it the Manitoba street fight that she referred to, that is an El Buntador 5 gold star match. Fight me.
Oh, that match was awesome.
Yep. This match against Mercedes Moné, I have high expectations of it. So, and that's it. I'm done.
I cannot wait for that. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be so good. So we move on from this amazing promo to a very interesting backstage interview. Trent Barretta is beginning to give his thoughts about everything that's been going on. And then we get interrupted by Mr. Rocky Romero, who talks to Trent that regardless of what happens at the end of Orange and Trent's match at Double or Nothing, hopefully they can all be like family. And then Trent just took the dagger and just twisted it a little bit in my heart, because he yells at Rocky saying that that's not going to happen and to never interrupt me again, and leaves poor Mr. Rocky Azucar Romero looking sadder than a puppy in the rain. This hurts my soul, but it is so good, and I actually enjoy the story that we're telling here with the whole fracture of the best friend family.
Yeah, I will admit, of all the spots for the night, I feel like this was the weakest, but that's to me, that's like taking me to a hamburger bar and being like, here, eat all these hamburgers now choose which one's the best, choose which one's the worst. They're all hamburgers. I love hamburgers, so take that as it is. I am interested to see which way Brent goes, which way Orange Cassidy goes. Is Don Callis going to do an okey doke and actually take Trent under his wing? Is Orange Cassidy gonna blow all of our minds and actually side with the Don Callis family? Like, I feel like that would be a very interesting twist, especially since he doesn't have the belt, and the belt. Yeah. I just, so there's a lot of layers to this story, mind you. This story is not one of those stories that's slam in your face, like the devil storyline with MJF, or like the bloodline storyline from WWE. This is one of those storylines that just has been like simmering in the background, and if you haven't been watching, you wouldn't really know what's going on or notice it, which is a damn shame, because this story has been very good. Like you said, the dismantling of the best friends, it did feel like someone just kicked me in my stomach when Trent Beretta just shined off Rocky Romero, and Rocky sat there, looking like a lost puppy. And I think that this is one of those stories that all these people in the past week or months or whatever that have been like, oh, there's no story in AEW, there's just blah 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 blah. I feel that this is an example of you're wrong. Thank you.
I love it. The convention has instilled a lot of confidence in all of our hosts, and we're going to keep it that way, because I also agree with you on that one. Which then leads us into this really, really big, but also really fun 4-way tag team match. This has the House of Black.
This was a lot of fun.
This was a lot of fun. This was also a lot of meat in this ring.
Yes.
We had the House of Black versus the Gates of Agony versus the Infantry versus the Acclaimed. Holy crap. I was just like, can we... These 4 teams alone, I was just like, all right, let me see what we're going to do. It's like, all right, we are in Las Vegas. We're just going to figure out who's available. Let's just have a fun time. This 4-way tag team match was awesome. And I'm just sitting here, I'm just like, where has this been the whole entire time? Holy crap.
When I saw this on the card, I fully expected this to just be a big sloppy mess. And it was it was one of those matches that really, like, it's just wrestling for wrestling to enjoy wrestling. There was no storyline, there are no belts on the line, there's no, in the grand scheme of things, like, they could take this whole nonsense no further with these teams, but it was a good match, it was an entertaining match, and it showcased the talent, and the talent that's not only in AEW but ROH.
This was a fantastic match, and ultimately the House of Black did pick up the victory, which was really, really great. But I love this match because every single team got a chance to shine. Gates of Agony looked really good. The Acclaim showed a lot of intensity, which is what I've been wanting from them. And even the Infantry continued to showcase why we enjoy them as a tag team in the ROH division. But,
give me more Brody and Toa.
Yes.
Give me more Brody and Toa. That was awesome. That was so good.
Look, it is no... Yeah.
And then, like, when the other dudes tried to interfere, they were just like, beep, beep, beep. You. So good. So good. Sorry.
Look, it is no secret here at the BC Wrestle Pod that myself and El Buntador, when it comes to certain, wrestlers in the AEW universe, we're like, ooh, how are we doing today? But yeah, I need Brody King and Toa to just have a singles match. I was like, all right, there's a lot of beef in this ring. Let's make it sizzle like it's about to go down. But like I said, House of Black picks up the victory here, and as they're walking up, we get Mr. Copeland on the Titantron in this like Grindhouse-esque filter with another fantastic promo. I'm just like, if I wasn't already hyped after Dynamite with the Brood Bath that was against Malachi Black, which by the way, El Butador, bringing that up a little bit, getting your thoughts on it. That visual made me hype for this match, and honestly, this
Yep.
barbed wire steel cage match for the TNT Championship is at the top of my list of the matches I'm most anticipated to see.
And then when Adam Copeland did that whole blood something something or blood red something something, I can sink my teeth into that. What are you doing here, Adam Copeland? Is that is that a little throwback to what I think it was, or are we like what signals are you sending me here?
The inner
Man,
90s and 2000s child in me
oh,
was like frothing
man,
at the mouth.
yes, yeah, like yeah, I too. Oh, and look, Mikey, it's AEW with another storyline.
That's crazy. It's
What?
not. It has been no secret that my biggest critique of the AEW is the wrestling is always going to be fantastic, but we need to see storylines. And I think while some have been hit and miss leading into Double or Nothing, this particular storyline with this particular match happening is probably my favorite and probably the best one outside of Mercedes and Willow. I think those are the two stories going into Double or Nothing that have me excited. But there's also one more, which we'll talk about when we get to the bumpers, that I am sad that is on the buy-in or the pre-show. But you know what? I still think it's going to be a fantastic match. But Copeland's coming for everything for House of Black. So we shall see what happens in the match for the TNT Championship at Double or Nothing tomorrow. Oh, this is going to be so good. I cannot wait.
Yeah. Yep.
And then we just go into another amazing promo. Toni Storm, I don't care what nobody says, even though the year is not over, Toni Storm gets the award for the best promos because it doesn't matter her opponent. When you just let her go and you let her do whatever she wants. This promo against Serena Deeb was phenomenal. And this is the same thing that I said because excuse my French, I was like, Neh, by the end of this promo, and I felt the exact same way when she cut the promo against Thunder Rosa before Dynasty. The line still sticks in my head from when she cut it against Thunder, saying that, it's like, I make love to my demons. I was just like, I was like,
yep.
I melted. And this promo, I melted too, because she cut it against Serena so well, and I'm just like, just give Toni all the accolades. Like, she is amazing on the mic with this. Yeah, I think her promos against her opponents every time she's getting ready to defend this title at a pay-per-view is just pure goodness. It's so there. I am at a loss for words. This promo was awesome. I loved it.
I want the match to go at least over 10 minutes. I have a fear that because Toni Storm, again, is just so good on the mic, that this is going to be an overglorified squash match. I don't want that to happen. I want to see Serena Deeb do her thing. We've seen Toni do her thing, and we know that she's going to do her thing in this match. But I do want time for Serena Deeb to do a thing. I do. Yeah. And I for as much as I love Toni Storm and these promos that she's cutting, please, give us a little drama. Let us think that, is she actually going to lose this? Because the last few matches, for as much as I did enjoy them against Deonna Purrazzo and Thunder Rosa, like, there was at no time did I feel like she was going to lose, So yeah, let's have that with this one. And I mean, if they both come out and knock each other's blocks off, so be it. I'm ready. Body's ready. The body's ready.
Right. And I feel that we can put, even though we're going to come back to this match, we can put Serena Deeb's promo, because both that happened a little bit later in the evening, together with this one, because they kind of go hand in hand.
Yep.
Again, the story for this championship match has been hit and miss, but I think Toni and Serena do well. Serena cuts a promo backstage where she says that she gives Toni her flowers because Toni, I think, is probably the best women's wrestling character out there right now across any promotion. But
Yeah.
come Double or Nothing, Serena Deeb is going to take that title from her, which again, I want more than 10 minutes between these two, and I think both of these two can pull out a fantastic match. I'm
Yes.
excited regardless. And again, Toni Storm just always kills it in the promos. I'm happy to see Serena get this opportunity, especially learning that she had 3 seizures over the course of the last year or so, which was kind of nutty to hear when we heard about that. And I want the good things for this. So we're gonna rewind the clock a little bit because now we get our only women's match of Collision for tonight, but it was still a fun one. Mariah May versus legit Layla Hirsch.
Hirsch. Yep. Hi, Layla.
Hi, we love talking with you at the New Jersey Russell show. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it was.
You know, this match essentially was, as soon as I saw this, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to win.
Yep.
Mariah May looked, yeah, this was actually a really fun match, and Mariah looked really great in this match. I think this is one of the matches that has allowed her to showcase what she could do. I'm like, there's the Mariah May I know from Stardom. This is perfect. I wish it wasn't at the expense of Layla, but
right.
I do think Layla was still able to go give a good back and forth Mariah, but ultimately Mariah May does pick up the victory here, and I'm actually really happy. I was like, you know what? This is the match that showcases Mariah, and she didn't come out in her Toni Storm lookalike gear. She came out in her regular gear. I was just like, there we go. I was like, at first I wasn't too sure when we put Mariah and Toni together. I'm going to put this out here now. Whenever they pull the trigger, I'm actually really excited for when Mariah and Toni eventually end up feuding.
The only complaint I have about this match is when Layla took control of the match. That's when they went to the flipping picture-in-picture. So that whole segment was just like this, and then
you got to pick picture-in-picture better for certain matches.
And then we came back and Mariah had started to flip it back, to her favor. So that was kind of frustrating, but it did showcase Mariah and her skill. I feel that this is the first step of not so much having her break away from Toni Storm, but showing that yes, she is more than a Toni Storm clone, which I mean we all knew, but that's the character that she's playing right now. This match did also showcase Layla, and I feel that Layla any day now can get the call up to be permanently on the AEW roster. So that's it.
Yes, it is. So we get our bumpers for what's about to go down post Double or Nothing. We get a rundown of all the matches happening on the main card. We also get a reiteration that we're not even going to be days out from Double or Nothing being over. And on Dynamite, we're going to have a battle royale to see who will face the AEW World Champion at Forbidden Door in this gauntlet. I cannot wait for that. Mm-hmm. And again, we get all the Double or Nothing matches, including 2 buy-in matches / 0-hour matches. We're getting the Acclaimed versus the formerly known entity as Mogul Embassy. So Wolverine, Brian Cage, and the Gates of Agony taking on the Acclaim, which is going to be a good one. Yep. And while I am bummed that this is on the buy-in, I still think it's going to be a match. We're also getting Deonna Purrazzo versus La Mera Mera herself.
Thunder Rosa. So ready for this part 2. So ready.
God, let that match close out the buy-in for Double or Nothing.
Yeah.
Be like, hey, do you want to buy this pay-per-view? Let's show you what we get. And just let Thunder and Deonna just wallop each other for the whole entire time. I'm getting sweaty thinking about it, El Luchador. I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's so good. I cannot wait. But then we reach our main event, and I will say, while I am still not the fan of the Double J Jarrett squad, I will say that the right people won this particular match, and I wasn't as upset or mad like I was on Dynamite, because I'm like, how do you have Bryan Danielson job out to Satnam Singh on Dynamite? That was a trip and a half. I don't care if Darby Allin arrived with Tony Khan and a flamethrower to make it look cool. I was not okay with this, but FTR and Bryan Danielson taking on the team of the Double J Jarrett squad. So Jeff Jarrett, Jay Lethal, and Satnam Singh. This is what main evented Collision. FTR and Danielson pick up the win, and they cut a short little promo saying that AEW is for the fans, and that's what they're going to do by representing Team AEW in Anarchy in the Arena.
Before we get to that, I want to commend and compliment the Jeff Jarrett squad. There are numerous times we have seen them and we have talked about like what are they doing. I was definitely hyped for the breakup that they were kind of working at, that they were kind of teasing, but they came in tonight and they actually looked like a unit. I thoroughly enjoyed the spot where Jay Lethal and Double J and Karen just like took chairs and sat and just watched Satnam Singh in the ring taking on all three, FTR and Bryan Danielson. I thought that was a lot of fun. You know, Satnam Singh, I felt like his usage was like perfect in this because he doesn't really move that well, you know, and he just kind of does like the old school giant thing, which okay, I'm not, you know what I mean?
Our other co-host Andrew, who guested on Dynamite this week, he says, and I quote, Satnam Singh reminds me why I don't like giants in wrestling, and continue to prove that it almost got to the level of Giant Gonzalez bad, end quote.
Right. But I felt like his usage was really done really well. And yeah, they just good job. Good job not looking like a bunch of morons, especially, you know, facing FTR and Bryan Danielson. We know that FTR can put on one hell of a match. We know Bryan Danielson can put on one hell of a match. I feel like putting the Jeff Jarrett squad against FTR and Bryan Danielson almost forced the Jeff Jarrett squad to like up their game, you know, because they were doing some moves I didn't think that they could do. So that I really enjoyed. Aubrey Edwards going at it with Karen Jarrett there, because we know that they have a little history, especially from last Double or Nothing, I think it was, you know. So that was a lot of fun. Now we can talk about the end promo. And for me personally, the promo that FTR cut was my favorite promo of the night. Just the lines of the fans that go and they work the 8-hour days, and you know, they have bad days and they come home and they turn on the TV and watch either an hour or 2 hours of AEW wrestling, and we can take them away from their troubles. You know, it's like Cash was staring into my soul, and I didn't like it because I mean, like, yeah, you know, I was thinking about this after the convention, but this spot just made me think about it more. How so many of my happy thoughts and happy times and times that were like the calm while the hurricane was going around me had to do with wrestling, you know, be it when I did wrestle or watching wrestling, you know. And yeah, that just, those words just like really, I'm not sure if he knows like how heavy and truthful that is, because I feel like across the board, that's the thing that kind of connects all of us as wrestling fans, you know, is that we can have shitty days, shitty lives, you know, shitty shit, but we sit down, we turn the TV on, and Dynamite comes on, Collision comes on, Rampage comes on, ROH, SmackDown, Raw, whatever. All of our troubles are gone for the amount of time that, you know, that these performers are giving to us, you know. And yeah, he was looking at my soul, and I didn't like it.
Well, and to speak to what you're talking about too, as someone who was part of that crew that was at the New Jersey Wrestle Show convention and was part of that team that did table and everything. That convention showed me, because my love for professional wrestling started out as a singular thing, and it was a way for me and my grandmother to connect with each other, especially at the height of the pandemic when we had nothing else to do because we were stuck in the house together. And so I've always been a fan of wrestling since, I started watching it religiously when I was in college all those years ago. But then it turned into something more when I had that added extra nuance with my grandmother. And then when she passed away, as all the BC WrestlePod boys have heard the story before, my love for professional wrestling kind of tapered off a little bit, because I was missing that one person that truly got what it was like to watch this. And it wasn't until I met JVL also during the pandemic, and we got to talking with the first iteration of the Bi-Conics. And then, it sparked my love for professional wrestling again. And fast forward, when we brought this back and we collected probably no longer just my host, but I have 7 other brothers and a sister, including Alice, in this one too. I have a secondary found family with this, and just wrestling has done something where it connects all of us, like Cash was saying, and what you were saying too, El Puntador, that it goes beyond just watching the programming and just having discussions online. It's a medium that allows us to create these core memories. And I think that's why after the convention and just kind of sitting with everything that BC WrestlePod was able to accomplish this past weekend, I never thought in a million years that professional wrestling would be at the foundation of what brings me joy and happiness. And I'm mad at Cash because he reiterated that feeling and what, I was thinking and just meditating on this whole entire week, that professional wrestling has given me such joy, not just for myself, but it has created a network and it has created a family within BC WrestlePod that makes me think, damn, now I want to see what else I can do and what other memories we can create, because watching wrestling connects me to my brothers and sister more than what I can possibly imagine.
Yeah, definitely.
And honestly, this was a beautiful way for Collision to go off the air with this promo.
Yep.
And it makes me really excited for Double or Nothing, and it makes me look forward to being able to spend the time with you guys when the AEW crew reviews Double or Nothing on Monday. But that is going to have to be for another time, and we're going to save this energy. But before we go, let's give our ratings for Collision this week. I'm going to be bold. I don't know if it's because it's super late / early in the morning and I'm kind of loopy a little bit, but honestly, I'm going to give this a solid 9 out of 10 for me for this Collision. And it might be because I've been missing Collision the last 2 weeks because of everything that we've been doing, life, the convention and everything. But honestly, this was a show that had great wrestling, fantastic promos, and the through line throughout this whole thing is that professional wrestling has the power to bring joy and happiness to other people. And this is a very beautiful moment in which it went beyond just reviewing AEW Collision. It literally gave me an existential crisis by the end of it, but realizing that professional wrestling connects everyone and it brings joy to a lot of people, and it makes me forget how crappy life can be sometimes. And it helps remind me that I got a bunch of family members now thanks to professional wrestling. But as a show itself, the wrestling was good, the promos were fantastic. Everything is building up to Double or Nothing, which I'm super excited about. I give this a 9 out of 10.
So I'm 10 out of 10. Full stop.
Enough said. Abutador, thank you for joining me. It's nice to get back to Collision, and this was a nice way to kind of cap off the high that I've been riding on since returning to my humble abode in California. But for the rest of you tuning into this review, thank you so much for tuning into another Collision Collective review. If you enjoy this AEW review, make sure you come back on Monday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Gotta make sure that's how time zones work, as the AEW crew of myself, maybe Adolfo or El Buntador, whoever's going to show up, JVL and the Professor will be reviewing Double or Nothing. So El Buntador will be there. So I'm super excited for it. But truly, from the bottom of my heart, remember, from us here at Collision Collective and all of the other hosts at BC WrestlePod, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, stay Bi-Conic, make sure that you deserve to finish your story, and just because of how special this episode of Collision made me feel, to remember, you have a connection to lots of people in the professional wrestling world, fans alike, and make sure that you share that and you let other people know how much professional wrestling means to you, and also let the other folks in your life know how much they mean to you as well. We'll catch you for the AE review, for Double or Nothing review on Monday, but until then, Tata for now, Billy Star.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another Vibe Tribe production. What's gonna happen next time? Well, you're gonna have to tune in to find out. But until then, remember, take care of yourself, love one another, and as always, make sure that you keep the good times rolling. Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next time.